Okay. Okay. Donna Gill. Okay. So you just said you were starting off. You're very green. Keep going.
I'm very green. I watched a couple of your instructional videos on YouTube,
Yeah.
and so that's helped. So I'm just doing, the right now I'm reading. I've got one thing that I read that comes out like every other month,
Okay.
and it ends up I basically read for it's like the 26 minutes
Okay.
once a week. So that's kind of the end of that. Um, and I've been like using Audacity to obviously record, and I know that you guys don't require that you do any editing, but I have, and the reason why is because my breathing and my clicks are really annoying. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm annoyed by them, then certainly somebody else is annoyed by them.
Right.
So I've been editing them out. I got like a declicker, but it doesn't work great. But anyway, what I'd like to do is like kind of learn how to not do those. Either like or do them less. And then the other thing is breathing. So I'm finding that I'm taking breaths in the middle of a sentence, whereas I feel like I should be taking breaths like in like during a comma or at the end of the sentence. And I don't know if that is normally how I talk, because it kind of I'm becoming aware of these things as I actually like talk to people out in the world.
Sure.
So, um, that and um, let's see, what else? I think sometimes I'm not really sure about like inflection, like if I read a question mark or I read a exclamation point or I read quotes, that type of
Sure.
thing. I
Okay.
get, I'm not really sure, like, because when we're talking and we ask a question, it's very clear. It's a question. It's like it kind
Right.
of, you kind of rise up. But I seem
Uh
to
huh.
not do that when I'm reading a question. I just kind of, yeah, I don't really read it as a question. So, but it sounds okay when I listen to it.
Right.
So I don't know if that's good or bad. And then also just like quotes, when you read a quote from somebody, are you supposed to, like, I don't think you're supposed to say quote, unquote. Maybe you are, I don't know. But like, do I make my voice a little different? Do I, like, how do I kind of handle that?
I
So those
love.
are kind of like the main questions that I have written down for you. But if you have
Fantastic.
other things that you think a super, super green noob would benefit from, I would be thrilled to know about it.
Sure. So let's start off with your questions, and then we'll kind of go through all of these as we progress. If other questions come up, fantastic. If not, that's fine too.
Okay,
So let's
cool.
start with the clicking. When you talk about clicking, can you be very specific about what it is that's happening?
Sure. Yeah, I think right before I breathe, my tongue just makes this little
Yeah,
click sound. Yeah.
that those all those sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mouth sounds.
yeah, a good way to try to eliminate some of that, and that's going to be very hard to eliminate just on your own. Um, the first thing that I would say is to drop your jaw even more when you're taking in a breath and
Okay.
making sure you're not shallow breathing from your chest, rather from your
Okay.
stomach.
Okay.
That would be the first thing. It may not affect that too much, but I can
Okay.
almost guarantee dropping your jaw a little bit to give your tongue more space from hitting the roof of your mouth. It'll give it more travel, which, it could help. It may help. It's one thing worth trying.
All right.
Also, when we go to take a breath and we have our lips pursed or they're together, and a lot of times when we go to open our mouth, it's the suction that causes that click. So if I have my
Yeah.
mouth closed and I go,
Mm-hmm.
I just open my mouth, it's a suction. It's not necessarily a
Yes.
breathing or a clicking sound
Yes.
that's happening. It's an
Mm-hmm.
involuntary just suction that, or like a that happens naturally.
Okay.
So in order to be able to eliminate those, try not to keep your lips pressed together for too long.
Okay.
That, and if you, again, this is going to take a lot of practice to
Yeah.
understand what's happening. You know how when you have a suction cup that is
Um,
on a like a shower tile,
yeah.
and you just pull it off and it pops really
Uh-huh.
loud?
Mm-hmm.
Where if you pull up just the edge of it,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
comes up a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
So instead of creating that suction on the lips and in the mouth, instead of doing that, like
Mm-hmm.
if I create the suction, you hear that just
Mm-hmm.
little
Yep.
sound.
Yep.
If I keep my lips pursed and I still do the same thing and I push out with that sound, or without, and I push the air out of my mouth instead of pulling it in,
Uh-huh.
right? That's pulling
Push the
in. And if
push
I,
the air out. Wait, say
and if
that
you,
the first part. Say that
so
again.
yeah,
So
if, so I'm going to tighten up and I'll suck in like I would normally talk,
okay.
right? It's just that,
Uh-huh.
because that's a sucking in
Yeah.
motion with the tongue. But if you relax the tongue out of it instead of forcing it, so
Okay. Yeah.
let me hold on. Let me see if I
That
can.
makes sense.
This is going to get very weird, so I apologize. Hold on. Okay, so if I have, you can kind of see,
Uh-huh.
right? But if I relax my tongue,
Yeah.
no matter how hard I create that suction,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it just kind of
It
releases.
doesn't it doesn't. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You have to relax the tongue in order to release that pressure before you start speaking.
Okay.
So I know that's kind of a weird. It's the only way that I can like visually
Yeah.
show, because sometimes it helps people to see the tongue in the action. A lot of time the tongue gets pressed up against the roof of our mouth, so we have to kind
Uh-huh.
of relax the back
Yes.
part of our tongue
Yeah.
to let that air out, and then the tip of the tongue releases from the roof of the mouth. That would help the clicking noise.
Okay.
Some people just have natural clicks and tendencies in their voice. Mine has a lot of them, and I remove a lot of them just by filters and that kind of thing, because my cheeks, I can create a lot of saliva, and a lot of that stuff just get it suctions, and there's nothing really you can do about that. You
Okay.
just have to be mindful of it.
Okay.
Um, Softening up the muscles in your face is a really great way to do that. Keeping your mouth open more. I mean, for a longer duration instead of keeping your mouth closed.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of it's a weird concept to think about. Um, but that more that air is flowing in and out, the less pops and clicks you're gonna have. Does that help?
Yeah.
Cool.
It helps a lot. But
And
putting it into
then
practice, I don't know, but yes,
yeah,
helping.
and that's going to be one of those things that's going to take a long time to understand, to feel out the clicking. That onset of the click is something you can practice pretty easily. Instead of, it's just like, it'd be like sucking on a straw, and instead of letting the liquid come through the straw into your mouth, is slowly releasing it so that it goes back down into the cup.
Okay. Okay.
That'd be a good way to practice that. And then what was your next question?
Uh It was about sentences and breathing and when to breathe. I breathe in the feel like I breathe most of the time in the middle of a
And just
sentence.
kind of,
And
okay. Do you
is that
have some of your reading material with you or in
hand,
front of you?
handy?
Yeah.
Of course I do. Um, See if I play it, will you hear it?
I probably won't, but what I want to hear is you read it.
Oh, you want me to hear me read it? Okay, sorry. I
Yeah.
thought you were asking my audio
Nope.
for my audio recording. No. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I can read it. Let me find it here.
I really appreciate you being vulnerable because it takes some humility and some guts to be able to come in and say, what am I doing wrong? And how do I do this? So I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that at
That's
all.
good.
Okay, hold on. Let me find my email because it's not actually up online anymore. It's from what's her name? Jennifer Neptune. Um, there we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So I
And
haven't actually like read this yet. So this
okay,
will be like sort of sight reading, I guess, if you will.
perfect. No, that's great. What publication are you reading?
It's called The Senior Beacon.
Nice. Okay,
I
cool.
think it's a new,
Yeah,
fairly
brand new.
new
Yep,
publication.
love it.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Okay. All right, here we go. So, local news: 14 outstanding students to be honored by Mason's Eastern Star. Pueblo. The three Masonic lodges, Eastern Star and Amaranth chapters of Pueblo County, are recognizing 14 outstanding Junior Achievement Awards recipients. One boy and one girl were chosen to represent each of the 7 public high schools in the Pueblo County area. The program will be held on Sunday, April 21st, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Masonic Temple, 126 Broadway, Pueblo, Colorado, 81004, rear parking off Evans. South Pueblo Lodge number 31 will host the event with W.M. Lewis Flores presiding and serving as master of ceremonies.
I'm gonna
The
stop you
theme
right there.
Okay.
I don't hear any issues.
Okay. Cuz I
Um,
definitely I definitely breathed in that first sentence.
yeah,
But
and
if
that's
it
fine.
sounds okay, then I guess
Yeah.
it's okay.
No, you're a human. You're allowed to breathe. It's just we breathe when we talk. And a lot of
Okay.
times when our brain is moving faster than our lips and our mouth and our body wants to move, we
Mhm.
have to take a breath because our brain is moving way faster than what our body could ever process,
Okay.
right? And I mean, the brain is the thing where it's sending a signal to our hands to wiggle our fingers,
Yeah.
but it starts here and then it has to travel to our fingers and then back to our brain to confirm that it's happening. So it only
Okay.
makes sense that our brain is going to move faster than we're speaking.
Okay.
And when we do that, we have to take breaths at sometimes inopportune times. Now, if
Okay.
you were singing and you were breaking your breath in the middle of a singing phrase, I'd
Okay.
say, okay, now let's fix that. But
Okay.
the other thing is making sure you take a deep enough breath and that it's
Okay.
not shallow,
Yeah.
and then being confident in what you're reading. I know that was a cold read, so don't worry about that. But even in a cold read, you can make things super confident. Let's see. I'm just gonna pull up let's NFL.com. I'm just gonna pick this
I
first.
know
I have no idea.
the things that are
Like,
like in my wheelhouse, like business. I'm a
yeah.
business major and I do like businessy things. So like
Oh,
any
nice.
kind of business stuff, I'm like, I can read that, no problem. But when it's anything sort of outside of that, I definitely have to I definitely have to read through it a few times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like this one says the Buffalo Bills are trading star wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 2025 second round draft pick. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported on Wednesday per source. I just read it like a very news bland, not exciting person.
Mhm.
Um, and we're not necessarily asking you to be the most engaged, over the top, dramatic reading. It's not like the Buffalo Bills are trading star wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 2025 second round draft pick. Right? We're not doing that. We're not going.
Really? That's so
No,
much more
you
fun.
can't. You can if you want to. I mean, it could be more fun, but somewhere a happy medium. The
Okay.
Buffalo Bills are trading star wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 2025 second round draft pick. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported on Wednesday per a source. So it's kind of like a happy medium, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Um,
And then what question do you have? It sounded like you had a thought.
well, I guess I was thinking about uh, like when I listen to audiobooks, because that's kind of my main
Okay.
sort of source of learning anything. They do seem to pause mostly during the end of sentences, or not pause, but breathe. But I can't really hear it too much. I think they probably edited it out.
Those
Uh,
things are heavily edited.
yeah, yeah.
Very, very heavily edited.
Uh,
Almost to the point of being annoying. I'm not kidding.
I'm not annoyed by it.
Well,
You might
so
be
for
annoyed by it, but I'm not
I might,
annoyed by
yes. So it bothers me when I hear somebody talking and I don't ever hear them breathe, especially in recordings, because it sounds super
it.
unnatural. That's why
Hmm.
we decide to use human voices rather than AI,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
AI
Well,
doesn't have
AI
to
is.
breathe. It's just like,
Yeah, and well, it's still, I mean, it definitely sounds better than it did years ago, but it's still not,
absolutely.
it's not, it's not
But
real.
see, when
Like,
you add
still,
filler
so.
words like humans do, the ands, the ums, the if, thens, so
Mhm.
many times we start sentences with, so I was thinking, or, well, what do you think about? That's the wells, the so's, those little
Mhm.
filler words, those
Mhm.
anticipatory words that we use.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think your breathing's fine,
Okay.
which kind of leads into the, however, how do you want it to sound when you're being, I guess, when you're presenting it?
Yeah. When I want to, like, I think of, well, how do I want to listen to it myself?
Yeah, have
And
you listened? Have you recorded anything and then listened back to it?
mhm,
And then
yeah,
what notes do you take? Or what
those are the notes
thoughts
that
do
I
you have?
take. The
That it
clicking.
sounds
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. But I think I would like to be a little bit more dramatic, somewhere
Sure.
between your first read and,
The
the
second,
second read.
yeah.
Yeah, I would like to have something that's a little bit more dramatic, but I don't want it
Hmm.
to be too over the top.
Okay, so let's try that first. Um, Whatever sentence that was talking about the messianic
Okay.
area.
Okay, let me find it here. Okay, here we go. Okay. 14. Okay. Local news. 14 outstanding students to be honored by Masons, Eastern Star, Pueblo. The three Masonic lodges, Eastern Star and Amaranth chapters of Pueblo County, are recognizing 14 Outstanding Junior Achievement Awards recipients. One boy and one girl were chosen to represent each of the 7 public high schools in the Pueblo County area. The program will be held on Sunday, April 21st, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Masonic Temple, 126 Broadway, Pueblo, Colorado 81004, parking off Evans.
Cool. All right. I'm going to do a vocal exercise with you.
Okay.
Or it's not really a vocal exercise. It's more of a mental exercise. And I want you to read it 2 more times, but this time I want you to read it like you are bored out of your ever-loving mind, and this is the worst thing that you could possibly be reading.
Okay.
Okay? And stop it. And stop right after the little boy and girl award sentence.
Okay. 14 outstanding students to be honored by Mason's Eastern Star.
Yeah, that's a good place to stop. So we're super bored. We're super annoyed.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. The 3 Masonic lodges, Eastern Star, Amaranth chapters of Pueblo County are recognizing 14 outstanding Junior Achievement Awards recipients. One boy, one girl were chosen to represent each of 7 public high schools in the Pueblo County area.
Cool. Great. That was great. Okay, so you can, that's exactly right. So you can read it dramatically in the negative way. Fantastic. Okay. Now I want you to read it like you're reading to a group of kindergarten students.
Okay. 14 outstanding students to be honored by
Okay, hold on.
Masons.
I want you to back up, take a breath, get your mindset set, and kind of just gently lean into it, and get yourself going.
Okay. 14 outstanding students to be honored by Mason's Eastern Star. The 3 Masonic lodges, Eastern Star, Amaranth chapters of Pueblo County, are recognizing 14 outstanding Junior Achievement Awards.
Great.
Recipients.
I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Now I want you to increase the grade level to about 4th grade so you can speak with that same kind of dynamic, but faster.
Okay. 14 outstanding students to be honored by Mason's Eastern Star. The 3 Masonic lodges, Eastern Star and Amaranth chapters of Pueblo County, are recognizing 14 outstanding Junior Achievement Awards recipients. One boy and one girl were chosen to represent each of the 7 public high schools in the Pueblo County area.
I'm just gonna do this for a second.
Because you got me to do what I was supposed to do.
Yes, exactly. It sounds amazing, and so I'll send you a recording of this because I want you to hear how different that was and how engaging that was without being pandering in a negative way.
Okay.
It sounded exciting. It sounded engaging. It sounded interesting. I wanted to learn more. Because the several other times you were reading it, I didn't even pay attention to what was happening. Oh, sorry. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry, my camera went out. And that's super annoying to know that there's good information in there, but when the reader is reading it, like the first time, when I told you to read it like you were bored, it sounded like you were just kind of proofreading it and making sure. That's kind of how I would read it in my head, to say, like, okay, if I was going to read that Stephon Diggs, the Buffalo Bills are trading star wide receiver Stephon Diggs for the Houston Texans in exchange for, it's kind of like ho-humish, right? But then when you come in excited and you're reading to a group of 4th graders, the Buffalo Bills are trading wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 2025 second-round draft pick. Like, can you believe that? That's insane.
It's like astonishing.
Right? I think, oh my gosh. Like, right? So when you
walk in the room right now,
I know.
Like, yeah, right.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so it becomes very interesting. So I would like you to do that exercise. You don't have to do that every single time you read,
Okay.
but read it very ho-hum and then read it super over the top like you were doing it with kindergartners, but keep that energy and then speed it up a little bit.
Okay, I'm making myself notes. Okay.
Voiceover is 95% mental.
Okay.
And we really didn't change much.
Yeah.
We didn't change any of your body positions or any of your head positions. We didn't change any of that. We just talked about a little bit about breathing,
Mm-hmm.
settling in,
And
right?
the
I mean,
audience, I think when you say the audience, like who I'm actually reading for, that really kind of helped click in my mind
sure.
what
Yeah.
what I wanted to try to portray.
Yeah. Well, we have a few minutes left. What other questions?
Those are kind of my big questions. Tell me what you think maybe I would be good at. Maybe what you could tell me maybe what my next step in sort of development might be.
Yeah, I think really is the breathing, the engaging tone, and you have a natural engaging tone in your voice, a nice inflection, ups and downs. So that's good. It's funny that when we start reading, all of that gets thrown out the window and we could care less. It's something like these little black and white letters have this grip on our brains that doesn't compute very well or translate to other people when we read.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, maybe what I could do is use gestures.
That's also a good way to do it. The Whenever I use gestures, I tend to hit my microphone and I
Yeah.
hit it and I start fighting with it. And so I'm like, and
Yeah. Okay.
that's
Well,
not
I'll
always the most
practice
fun.
not doing
Yeah.
that.
And so it's fine to use small gestures,
Yeah. I probably
and
won't get too boisterous because I'm not normally like that anyway.
right.
But even just taking my hands out of
Yeah,
my
oh,
lap.
I do that with podcasts all the time. I talk with my hands so much, and it's hard. That's why I hold a cup of coffee in my hand. That can be also another thing. One of our podcast hosts, actually several of them, would get super. I don't know if anxious is the right word. They would feel like they were talking with their hands too much or moving too much, and their conversation didn't sound natural. And so I told them, okay, grab a coffee cup, get your coffee out, and start having a conversation. Like, what?
Okay. I don't know what that
Because a
is. Can you
because
hear
a
that?
coffee,
Can you hear that sound?
that like scraping noise.
No, it's like a buzzing noise. You don't
Oh, it
hear it?
might be my heater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. You're in
Um.
Colorado. It's cold.
Yeah. Where are you?
California.
Okay.
It's not cold.
No, I mean it's nice here. My basement is freezing.
Oh
I mean
yeah.
it's 50 degrees outside, so it's not that
Oh,
bad.
that's not
It's
cold.
just about it's pretty close to short weather.
Yeah, but
Um.
definitely the basements. Like in California, we don't really have basements too much.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway,
But
so
it
grab your coffee cup.
grab your coffee cup, and there's something mentally engaging about holding a coffee cup because when you're holding a coffee cup and talking with somebody else, you tend to have natural conversations because you're having coffee with them. It's a relational
Yeah.
thing, right?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
holding that coffee cup puts you in a relational mindset rather
Yep.
than a presenter mindset.
Yep.
Because how many times have you gone up and seen a presenter? He'll be presenting or she'll be presenting, and they'll take a break for a second and they'll break character to take a drink of coffee. Sorry, I just want to take a coffee break for a second. Hold on. How many times have you seen that happen? And you're
Yeah.
think, oh, there's their real personality. And then
Yeah.
they start going back into their presenter mode.
Yep.
By holding the cup of coffee, they're no longer in quote unquote presenter mode. They're
Hmm.
in engaging in relational mode.
Yep.
And and so now whenever I'm sure that whenever you go to hear somebody speak, you'd be like, I wonder what they're really sounding like. And then you'll go to watch and see when they go to take a drink because that's their real personality.
Yep.
And
I
so that's
totally
why
get that.
whenever I present or whenever I'm doing things like this or I'm talking with, I usually will have a drink of something just so I don't get into that presenter mindset.
And it does kind of bring you back to sort of level set or neutral or something.
Yeah.
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 It's not like I'm up here and you're down here. We are here and we're doing this together.
Hmm.
I'd never want it to be, I have all the answers and you don't.
Yeah.
You have a question, I have an answer. We're going to work to come together to create a solution.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Totally. Um, so I sometimes after a few articles, my throat will get really dry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll just use this like throat spray stuff.
Absolutely.
Is that
Yeah.
what you recommend, or do you have another trick for the
Lemon and honey.
lemon and honey? Okay.
Yep. Cough drops that have, or throat lozenges that have lemon and honey. If you can stand it, a lot of people don't like the menthol taste, but menthol really helps to clear out the sinuses and your throat and kind of helps with a lot of that.
Okay.
Yep. So are you a tea or coffee drinker?
Yeah, coffee.
Coffee? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love my coffee. And
Yeah.
so right before I do podcasts, I have to switch over to tea so that
Mm-hmm.
I can, or have some just lemon water on hand.
Mm-hmm.
That really helps.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I'll try those
So
things.
there's a Tilly's. There's a very specific cough drop or a throat lozenge that is designed for vocalists and singers and voiceover actors, and I don't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head. Um, but it's hyper specific
Okay.
for voiceover and for singers and um,
Vocalist.
yeah,
Okay. All right. I'll look for that
yeah,
because that's what happens
yep,
right there. And then like I
yep.
clear it out and it's like still kind of there, so I have to moisten it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, that happens to everybody. I mean, that's just part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You use a muscle for too long and it gets fatigued. It's like, shut up, stop, please.
So yeah, so on that note, if I practice, like the more I practice, is that gonna, as I get better at it, is that
Yeah.
gonna go
Oh yeah,
less? So okay,
it will.
it's not just
Yeah.
my anatomy.
No,
Oh,
the
that's
other
great.
thing that I've seen you doing and I've noticed when you read, is your computer screen at eye level or is it higher or
You
lower?
know, it is not. So I have my camera on my laptop, which is what I've got here, and then I have another screen over here, and that's where I
Yep.
read from. But
Okay.
um, in order to hear you, I can't have that screen on.
Right.
I clearly need to get a new screen because I need to be
Well,
able to hear with that one. Because when I'm doing my reading, I have my microphone is right
mhm.
here,
Yeah.
and then my screen is different.
Yeah.
So I am more sitting up.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I want to caution you to not get your chin up too high
Okay.
because if you do that, so I'll do a over dramatized version of this.
Okay.
So if I'm talking down here like this, everything gets pinched off and my neck, in the back of my neck gets really hurt and sore because I'm
Okay.
stressed, right? My jaw
Hmm.
is tucked really deep into my throat. I'm kind of looking down and nothing has room to move. But as soon as I start to open up my jaw, you can hear my voice relax and
Hmm.
it becomes in line. Conversely, if I keep talking and all of a sudden my voice is up here and I start
Yeah.
straining my vocal cords, you can see it's all tight.
Okay.
And so I don't usually like to tell people that pull a string at the top of your head to make sure you're aligned because that's not actually accurate. Our The base of our head is not supposed to be in line with our body. It's actually just off center. And so, and not to put it back like that, to straighten your back and tighten your back. Everything should be nice and loose. Where it actually comes from is in your hips and your sit muscles, where in your tailbone, and your tailbone should be going as planted as firmly into the seat as possible, with your hips rolled forward ever so slightly, and that will put you in a very good reading position if you're sitting. And then if you can have, like right now, if I have my head up like this is too strained for me. I know that this is too strained. It may not look very strained, but I can feel the tightness here and in the back of my head.
Yeah.
So for me, the most relaxed is just to kind of let my head kind of drop and roll around. This is probably my most natural state.
Okay.
This feels very comfortable, and I can talk like this all day long.
Okay.
Right? My chin is parallel to the floor. I'm not looking up. I'm not looking to the side. Like sometimes you have to get your neck and head to move around just to loosen all that stuff up.
Okay. Got it. All right.
And that'll help a lot.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll definitely make be more conscious of that too.
I know some readers get stressed, or they have tightness in their lower back or their shoulders and the back of their head in their neck, because most of the time they're reading like they'll be leaning forward and they'll be like this.
Oh yeah.
Or they'll be down looking like down into the screen or down into their paper.
Okay.
And that's not what you want.
Right. Okay.
So for instance, sorry, this is going to get crazy. So this is my screen, right?
Uh-huh.
This is all my setup.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking straight, wow. So obviously my camera is right here, but if my screen, you are at exactly eye level.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Keep that in mind. You'll be good.
I definitely I need to work on my setup a little bit for sure. It's not ideal. Yeah, I have more room here in my closet that just needs to be cleaned out with some other,
What kind of microphone are you using?
It's a, it's a condenser, something or other. I don't know. What do you want, brand name or something?
Oh, no, I was just curious what you had.
Yeah, I don't know even what to tell you other than this is what it looks like.
No, that's fine. I'm kind of a microphone nerd. Oh, the AT2020. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, so
cool.
You saw something? What did you?
No, I just know the shape and I know that microphone very well.
I don't know. I just went on Amazon and found something that was kind of low end, but not like the bottom of the barrel, but something to start with.
Yeah. No, good job. Yep, cool. Good. I'm glad you watched those videos. We'll be making more any other questions before I stop this recording real quick?
No. Do you have a recommendation of one that I could watch or rewatch or benefit from?
The breathing one.
The breathing one.
If you haven't watched that one, I would go back and watch that one. I also have one that talks about the best way to get the most out of your setup without having the most expensive gear.
Okay.
So with microphone placement and all that kind of stuff, that was one of my favorite ones.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll watch those.
Yeah. So let me stop this. Anything else?
Nope.